Well, welcome colleagues. Thanks for your time and attention. This is one of two 30-minute teleconferences, electrical professionals around the country that are working in the education healthcare facilities industry. We've been having since about June. As you can see from our website, our very modest Times Roman non-school color website, we're principally focusing on pairing up data with concepts, writing ideas, getting them written up well enough to get onto a committee agenda, and then we discuss. Ideally, we have people go to these meetings. We discuss with the competitor interest about where common ground might be found. That would be certainly the case. Here in our NEC revision year. I should say, first of all, that I wanted to introduce my colleagues Jim Harvey and Ryan Giorio from Oakland. Maybe for the benefit of others who will be listening to this on demand. Jim, do you want to say a little bit what you do?
I'm manager of electrical engineering for University of Michigan Hospitals. We work on all renovations and new construction and try to help with operational and maintenance problems. So keeps me out of trouble most of the time.
Thanks, Jim. Ryan, anything want to tell everybody what you do?
I'm an electrical engineer at Oakland University. I work on the capital projects and the maintenance projects and whatever else they throw at me.
Do you know Simon Wren, or did you know Simon Wren?
He left prior to me arriving here, but I do know him.
Okay. He's a friend of mine.
Yep.
I knew he worked over there, and I knew he moved on, but I just was curious.
Yep. He left about 7.5 years ago.
Wow. Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
That's a short period of time in our industry.
It is.
So again, of course, you guys know that the teleconference is recorded. They'll be available to the attendees here for a day or two. I know you guys are okay with this, so I'll also say that I'm still working on getting the technical problems. Many people who are seeing the YouTube clips, which seem to be fairly well attended, by the way, will have problems with text, particularly when I'm running through text like this. I'm assuming everybody can see this, that it seems to gobble up a lot of disks. So I try to keep that to the minimum, but when your focus is principally writing code, working the nouns and verbs and the syllables of these documents, it's hard to not deal with text. So that's why I'm hoping within a month we'll be getting a lot of our resolution issues taken care of. So finally, I'd like to draw your attention to the fire exits in the back of the room. Please mute your cell phone if you may text if you get tired of all this stuff. So that much said, I thought I would let you know what we have. These are the 9 ideas here, and you guys have heard me talk about this over a number of years, and I will give Ryan the credit for making us understand that exceptions are never the first choice of design consultants, and so I believe I took that and put it. This is the new NFPA system.
Oh, that got you fired up, huh, Mike?
It did. It did.
Wow.
So let's see how I try to restate it. So this is what we did. So right now we have right now we had the exception. Here's our exception. Oh, Jim, you were frontline. Hell, you went with me to, pardon my French, you went with me to Hilton to drive this one through. So we got an exception, which we credit Jim Pauly for coming up with. But now we're going to go and do something very gutsy, and we're going to go to the IBC, and in this particular column, we're going to look at IBC identified occupancies, and this is what they are, and then we're going to go to ASHRAE and take our inspiration from all the ASHRAE guidance on power densities for light. So it's no longer an exception, at least in this proposal. This is actually bright line. You shall take office buildings down to 1 watt a square foot from 3.5 watts a square foot. So I put this in the name of our new committee here, Jim, and so my hope here is that maybe Ryan even wants to do a variation of this in his own name. So that might be a separate discussion offline, but I'd love to see Ryan's name tracking in the standard suite. Oops, did I accidentally? Okay, so that's what we did there, and I'm going to have to swap. Okay. Also what I've been doing, Jim, you've been following this, I've been going to all of the various parts of the NEC and looking at the dot standards. So there are as many of them. So this would be typical. So in the wiring planning, never before has there ever been a reference to an IEEE dot standard. And now there is a dot standard dealing with planning of industrial and commercial wire systems. So that's what we'll have. I'll take another one. Let's take another one down here. Let's take something for hospitals. Okay, I guess what I dealt here was the generic issue of wiring methods in hospitals, and I simply identified grounding and bonding as an important issue in hospital settings, so I made sure the committee knew that. So in general, what I'm going to show you what I did, if I can pull that over here, is you're going to see a tabulation of all of the, here's all the dot standards as best I know them, and I took them off the website, Jim. And what you're going to see me give to Lisa is a correlation between all of the dot standards, not dot standards, but the, let's see if I got it right here. Here we go. So what you're going to see then is that all of these, every panel on the NEC, and there's 19 of them, they're all going to see at least one, concept that tracks in the public record. So if I go to 3053, that's Article 555, I come down here, and what did that have to, what was that all about? That was about, okay, more grounding. Okay, well, I didn't use that as much. Let's pick another one. Well, anyway, you get the point. So what you're seeing here, I believe...
Do you know Don Zipsey?
No. Do you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So he's on that committee. I believe that he is the person who should be, I'm hoping that he will shepherd this through. Okay, I talked to Lisa. Not everybody knew who was who there, but my hope is that he would be sympathetic, and even though this document may not be completely maybe completely done, that we'll get it tracking so that the next cycle to be more acclimated to it. In any case, I've got to get all these people here. These are the actual names of the committee chairman. No. These are the IEEE people.
Oh, okay. The IEEE people that are on those panels.
Right. So I expect them, as I push, I want them to pull. So what does this do? Structurally, now what it does for our industry is that it takes a lot more engineering information. It takes a lot more engineering information that moves a lot faster, and we'll get into the NEC, because right now the NEC and actually the economic health of NFPA is owed to the fact that it's funded partially by police, let's say public safety money. I often say Second Amendment policing powers is what give authorities having jurisdictions and fire marshals their funding to execute their work. But of course they're part of the safety culture, and which I have no problem with, of course, but there's also engineering culture, which is not as well funded, which is why IEEE has been a weaker partner in developing the National Electrical Code. You would think that IEEE would be the leading organization in that, but actually it's the fire guys, and I think it's history and also the way their money flows.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got that one. Migration to impedance grounding. I'm working with, let's get to that Word document. So we're trying to get these ideas. Let me see. I think I have I think I did a pretty good picture of this, of what I'm driving at here. If I go back to our, one thing I have to tell you is it gets a little confusing working with Firefox. It turns out that the NFPA system works best under Firefox. So what you're seeing me is dealing with a number of different tabs in both Chrome and Firefox. So let me get to our our page here, and then you can see that this idea of impedance grounding, where we are, okay, right, so we have some different ideas. So this is the device that we would love the utilities to let us put on our main-time main. So on each bus, this is what I'm hoping, Jim, you're going to let us noodle around with your power system about, that it will dramatically reduce fault current, and it'll give us an early warning signal to operators of cable failures. So this is what we're trying to.
Between the main-time main, or are you talking about?
No, that each bus, well, at the transformer. Yeah.
At the transformer.
Yeah. Right. So it's being done. It's fairly, the Indian power system. They don't have the inertia, the institutional inertia or the cultural inertia we have. So they're doing it fairly routinely there. But that's India. That's not us. And so we need to get this on the table. So it's a very modest proposal I put out there. I have David Shipp and John Ogle helping me with this one because they're closer to the action. I know the process rather well. But I'm simply going to the services where we have services exceeding 1,000 volts, and I'm making a very modest statement. Impedance grounded services shall be permitted subject to the provisions of Section X of 250. And Section X of 250 is just the over 1,000 volts grounding chapter. So I've taken the over 1,000 volts of services and the over 1,000 volts of grounding and put them in this rather simple sentence to make it visible. And I don't expect that we're going to get this the first time around. We know there's a lot of resistance at the utility level. But we feel if we can raise the level of debate, and when Jim will turn over your hospital power system to us to fool around with, we'll, when do you start laughing, Jim? That we
underneath my breath.
Yeah, okay. Make some progress with that. Okay, so let's see now. Where were we? Let's get back to our agenda, which always seems to get lost when I'm working in two different ops systems. So here we are.
We're only talking about the medium voltage. I mean the Edison, the service transformers.
Right. Yeah, Edison will kick and scream, but we'll work at the Public Service Commission level if we need to.
Just a dumb question is that what the NSC doesn't talk too much about being designed by a professional engineer, does it?
The NEC?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of that in there, especially in the current coordination area. Yeah. Why do you? Well,
I just the impedance grounding system will be allowed when designed and proposed by a professional engineer.
Oh, well, then let's put that in there then. After this.
Ryan, do you agree?
Yes.
So how do we want to say it then?
What do you suggest, Ryan? Impedance grounding systems. Where'd it go?
Go ahead. I'm writing.
Impedance grounding systems shall be permitted subject to the provisions of such and such. Said systems shall be designed, coordinated, and protected. Designed and coordinated by a professional engineer, recognizing the advantages and special concerns of said systems.
Shall be designed, coordinated. Go ahead.
Designed and coordinated by a professional engineer who understands the advantages and special requirements of a high impedance grounded system.
Wow. So can I put that in your name?
No.
No?
If you want to, you can. No.
I'll just say this idea came from Jim. This idea came from Jim. Okay. Okay, we'll get that in there.
If I can, you might want to take special out of there. You don't ever want to say special, do you? You want to just say understands the requirements of impedance grounding system.
Okay, right.
Special draws.
Yeah. Yes. But I mean it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's
good.
Fine.
All right, so let's get on to our little, okay, so we did that. The supervised installation issue, I don't know if I put that in there. Let's see if I've got that ready for you. It's Article 240. What that does is that gives us some exemptions in overcurrent coordination, but I had a larger purpose here. So we're here at 240. So I made two proposals here. And okay, so overcurrent coordination. So I didn't do anything ordinary there, but I felt that when there are maintenance, 240.12. Let's see what overcurrent. No, I did the same one. Some of the criteria. Let me get to for overcurrent coordination. As you know, that you're granted certain exemptions in the way you operate your system if you have people around all the time. And I felt that while it was risky, supervised installation, let's see. Here's what we have. I believe I turned this in, but I turned it in the older system, which is on paper, and it's harder to get, and I don't want to bore you guys with me picking around on it. But in any case, supervised installation, what it does is that, well, I wanted to define it, and I wanted to expand it. Well, I have to tell you, I thought that I put that in 240-2. 240-2. I'm not seeing it here. Okay. Well, suffice to say that I wanted to get 7.365, was it 7.24.365, when there are staffs there, that you can, there are certain things that you don't have to do. Now, not having a secondary breaker on the transformer, that may be important just to an industrial installation where there may be overloads in a process. I get that. I get that. But it may also, in an odd way, exempt us from having to make certain size our wires in a certain way. And this is what I'm working with Crystal Hunter on. And the idea is a little bit new to me, but she's on that committee and she thinks she has a way to get that across. So I'll be talking to her a bit about that, but I actually did introduce this idea back in, I think, maybe 2002, 2005, and it was rejected, and I've been encouraged to try it again. So I'll let you take a look at that once I get it out. Okay, so here's our friend Giuseppe, and this gets to be rather risky, so what I'm going to do is let you see the 3 emails that I sent them yesterday, I believe, and I think they're significant. Let's see if I get to my email here, and I wish I'd had this up, but in general,
I don't want to. If you can take a step back, if you go back to that 240.2, and I'm not trying to be a wall, but if you go back to what you had pulled up previously.
Sure. Let's see. Yeah, let's go to. When did I? That was on our agenda, wasn't it? I keep going back to our. Let me go back and get our agenda back again. You'll lose it. Yeah, is this what you mean?
That last sentence there, I guess, and I don't know the answer, but that last sentence sort of creates a barrier.
It does. That's what I'm trying to fix.
Yeah, so I don't know how you, because I mean, yeah.
Excludes installations of buildings. What I tried to expand here, and when I could find the thing, and it doesn't appear to be tracking in the TerraView system, is that I've simply asked it in industrial processes, in multi-building campus installations where there's actually district energy also. I think most district energy plants have a 724 staff. Now, why is it important not to have overcurrent protection on the secondary breaker of a transformer in a district energy plant? There may be a reason having to do with a motor that doesn't have the right type of VSD on it, but what was compelling to me, and it's the one I'm still working with, I'm trying to get to, the one that I sent to Giuseppe and Crystal last night, if I can find it, is that it may exempt us from certain requirements for sizing wires. And I really don't know. This is Crystal getting back to me. Let me show you what I sent them, because it's going to be easier for me to Giuseppe. Here's our friend from Rome, and I think I sent it yesterday. Okay, here we go. And we've been talking about this for about 6 months now, and I have to tell you that I'm a little simplest possible sentence. Wire size revision. Giuseppe's at 100. Okay, so here's what Giuseppe is trying to say here. Okay, so we know that we have a general rule of sizing a wire and overcurrent device basically at 125% the rated current. Giuseppe claims that this one size fits all rule of thumb likely reduces, is not an effective use of material. That's his claim. And of course he does it in very academic ways, and Jim, you're here. I don't get all the microsystem concepts, but when he says that we're likely overdoing it and that possibly we may want to look at, where's the Near-McGrath calculation? You know that you don't have to use table 310.15. You can use the Near-McGrath calculation. When you do that, you're likely...
which is cable heating? McGrath, is that the cable heating issue?
Right, but remember many other things have to, the cable insulation as well as the terminations. So I've never said that this wasn't going to be a concept that wouldn't require lots of moving ideas in one spot. In fact, I haven't sent it there. In a half-hour teleconference, I'm probably running out of time. What I'll do is I'll send it to you. But long story short, we would be looking at, let's see if I can get back to what's the other one?
Well, you're looking the paper Giuseppe's paper was in part, if I remember it right, was he was looking at the actual load profile on a typical building, and that the heating that the cable is exposed to is such that the table ratings that we have to now follow are overly restrictive, that we could relax those numbers and still be able to easily protect the cable from the temperature according to its temperature limit.
Yeah, right, and that's what's going on in the European Union, or at least in the IEC space. Are you able to see what I started here?
Yeah.
Pretty scary, huh, for a lot of people?
Yeah.
We're only taking something like 2 to 15% out of these. This is, I presented it to the committee. I said I didn't have the data last time. I still don't have all the data, but I still want the idea still on the table. So I'm making, so until I get Crystal and Giuseppe to keep me from going off the track on this, I just want to get, I want the idea to continually be discussed, even if it takes another 6 to 12 years to do. This is what fundamental change looks like. So,
that's true. Right.
Okay, so here's, do I have this here? Here's what I put in here.
By the way, Giuseppe's, those ideas of Giuseppe is even pushing IEC. It's pushing NEC, but it's pushing IEC also.
Okay, well, I'm good to see that. Now, of course, I'd like to get $1 million to study this and put it in the hands of Wai-Jen to make sure that we're not doing anything patently unsafe here. You know, we think in our moment of time we're seeing load go down, but maybe we're going to see load go up at some point, so we have to be mindful of that. Okay, so here we are. So here's what I propose, Ryan. And Crystal's concept for using this as a way to inform how we size wires is still a bit of a stretch for me. And that's why she sent me that email I can't follow up on. So we're coming on to our limit here, guys. Let's see what else we did. I got in there for us. Continue. So I had Robert and Neil and I worked on Monday morning, and they put out a couple proposals changing the critical operations power system in Annex F. So they're not in my name. I showed them how to put them in their own names, so I didn't get copies of them. So trust me, you know, I've been working on this. But it also underlies, we'll be doing a special teleconference on that that discussion on Friday, so you can see how they say, well, you got to be careful about how you compare the value of a hospital second service to utility versus investing more in a district energy system. There's not the independence that you think is there. So Dan Bremer made a recommendation. He'd like to see LED power supplies with the same safety components that you see with ballast, so I helped him work him through that.
That says light. Does that say lightning safety or lighting safety?
Lighting safety. Lighting. I gotta say lighting supply circuit safety. Lighting branch circuit safety. Branch circuit, because he's saying when you detach the power supplies, you can get a hit, and I believe him. But of course, there's less incident energy when they start sizing their transformers right?
Right.
Okay, so further clarification, we're going to get that taken care of. And then finally, strengthening the voice. I believe this is one. Did I do this one already? No, I had, was that one that you were going to do, Ryan? Or did Dan? I think Dan did that one. So I'm hoping I could charm Ryan sometime between now and the Friday deadline into picking where he'd like to pick his spot here. And I think if you recall, Ryan, didn't I try to put you on the spot with this? Is that your name there?
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to? We never got the data. You want to take a flyer? I mean, let me know.
You want me to write something up on that?
Sure. Let's set up a special session, and I'll show you how you do that. Again, it just keeps it on the agenda. And Jim, are you planning to be at one of the two NEC? Well, we'll talk about that separately.
Okay.
How we may not. It's not as important this time because I did other things this year. We really can't go very far without some numbers, but we can still keep it on the agenda. So, I think we're about. I think we're about out of time here.
Yeah, I have to get going.
So that's kind of the story for this time around. We'll probably see the better part of 75, by my estimation. We got 30 of them out there right now, and it's important to understand also here that these are not necessarily APA or MyAPA positions. As you saw here, that I've identified the proposals of IEEE as originating from our new committee. I won't submit any new ideas under the APA name that I didn't last time. I'll take the ones that that were rejected last time, and there are several of them, about 19 of them. I'll resubmit them, but as you can see here, I will be using our new committee, and hopefully we'll be growing this over time. And the really difficult stuff I will be putting in my own name as University of Michigan. So that would probably include some of those wire sizes, because I know a lot of people are very fearful of that. So, but that's how you do big stuff. And with that, I think any closing thoughts, any final remarks? I think we pretty much have stayed on teleprompter, best I could tell.
Sounds good. Thanks.
I always like this to be more like the Prime Minister's questions, but there's just not enough time, so you can give me a hard time off the call if you like. So, and Ryan, send me a time when you want to get on the interwebs, and we can sock it in. It took about 20 minutes for Dan to do it, and I can do the same for you.
Okay. Yeah. Thursday I'm open. Wednesday I'm jammed from beginning to end.
Okay. Well, let's find that then. Well, okay.
Thank you all.
Well, thanks very much for your time, gentlemen, and I will see you in a couple weeks. Bye.
Very good. Bye-bye.